Our next speaker here on sentiment and expression mining is Dr. Debopriya Mazumdar, who's an assistant professor in ISI Kolkata. Prior to joining ISI, he worked in IBM Research Bangalore for about 7 years. He holds a bachelor's degree from Chennai Mathematical Institute and master's as well as a PhD degree from the Max Planck Institute for Computer Science. His primary interests are systems and applications in text searching, text mining, content creation, and data engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Debopriya Mazumdar.
So it's not morning anymore. Good afternoon. So I think I happen to be the only speaker from an academic institution today. So that's special. And because of that, although I have also been in industry, because of my academic nature, this talk will be on a much smaller range of topic. It's a particular topic, sentiment and expression mining, and maybe it will be a classroom kind of talk. No, I'm not going to be too technical, but hopefully easy, and we'll just see what it goes. So once upon a time in this world, most published content was moderated and edited, right? So if you had to write something, you write, you take it to a publisher, hopefully it gets accepted, then somebody will edit it, and then it gets published, right? Okay? So a lot of hurdles. Today, well, people can write and publish anything they want to, and they do. So you can write a blog, whatever you want, you can write. You can have personal websites. You can write comments to somebody else's blogs or articles or some news articles. You can write reviews in review sites, very helpful, much more helpful than complaining to the customer care of some company. You can write Facebook posts, maybe that's even more helpful nowadays. You can write comments to Facebook posts and Twitter and many others and such things, right? So basically you have the freedom. We have the freedom to write anything, and we exercise that. So these are the examples. So this is, okay, so nothing personal about Eureka Forbes, just for academic interest. I just picked up something, and so this is from mouthshut.com. So this is a review where we have somebody writing about some service problem or something. So there is a rating. The rating is 1 out of 5, and there is a review, textual review as well. This is from TripAdvisor. It's a review about a hotel. So 42 people have reviewed this. So it's actually far more broken down. So there are lots of structure in this. Not only the ratings, but the ratings about different attributes. And you have the chance of writing a textual review also. Here also, it's a very good data. You have ratings and textual reviews. This is from Flipkart.com. Reviews of Apple iPhone 5S, okay, long time back. So again, you have some rating and textual reviews. So you can have actually 22 reviews about battery, 38 reviews about camera, and so on, right? So you have all that. Now comes the interesting part, Twitter and Facebook. Okay, it will be hard to read, but I can tell you what these are. So the tweets are, again, hashtag Eureka Forbes. They are basically saying, something bad about the service, some bad company or something like that. And I'm sure there are good reviews also. And then the Facebook post with all caps, the person was very excited. Well, a lot of complaint about the service, right? So the problem here is, what we have heard so far is a lot of text, no numerical rating. So it's not easy to simply do something from this, okay? So this is where the need or the idea of working on sentiment analysis came from originally. So review sites have semi-structured data, ratings and details. Blogs are unstructured. Social networks are very unstructured and noisy. So there can be lots of, we can talk about how noisy this is, but I'm going to skip that for now, okay? So just very briefly, people can write in wrong spellings, different languages. People can write in Hindi, but in English script, and the other way. They can use chat abbreviations and stuff like that, and so on. So the sentiment analysis as a field of work came up to make sense of so much of unstructured expressions by people. So giving some structure, the idea was to give some structure to these expressions. Now, we're already talking about expressions, okay? And the goal is to quantify the qualitative statements by people. We make qualitative statements, okay? Good, bad, horrible, okay? These are qualitative things. We have to quantify them. Unless we quantify them into numbers, or one-dimensional or two-dimensional, whatever kind of numbers, we won't be able to take large-scale actions. So this is, again, formalizing a bit more. What these are is that suppose you are neutral in the middle, this side it's pleasant, so you are happy, this side is unpleasant, you are not happy. And so suppose that's, so to start with, if we think that you can be either this side or that side, one dimension only, so like, dislike, hate, and so like is this side, dislike is that side, so the positive side is like, negative side is dislike. This is the scope of sentiment analysis to start with, okay? So very simple, and that's what exists today. That's what exists today. So basic sentiment analysis would just do the following. It will, given some statement in text or voice or whatever, finally text, it will try to give a number to that statement, okay? The number would be in the sum scale, okay? 0 to 5, sorry, minus 1 to 5, or plus 5 to minus 5, or minus 1 to plus 1, whatever. A more complex task, which will be more useful, is not only detect the sentiment score, but also detect who is happy or unhappy about what. So for example, I love the movie Titanic. It's a great epic on the ocean. So the source is I, sentiment, loved and great, okay? Both are positive. And the target is Titanic. Just being happy, well, that's fine. But who is happy and about what? Coming back to this example of Eureka Forbes, site, the customer reviews, somebody here is unhappy about the sales team. It says unresponsive sales team, okay? So that's the point here. And in this long post, Facebook post, somebody is unhappy about the service, okay? So these are the findings from this. So what are the interesting use cases? So as heads of the companies, what do you do to do this, right? So basically you can detect the tone of the customer and take required actions. And you can figure out that some products don't have a good review, good rating, and so on. And you can actually promote products which receive positive reviews, and so on. You can gain competitive advantage, right? So for example, normally 90% positive reviews may be good, but not so if your competitor has 94%, right? So you can figure out where you stand. And this way you can actually improve market presence if necessary. You can try to. And more concretely, you can try to figure out actionable items. What exactly you need to do and when to take care of the customer satisfaction. So for example, detect which reviews or comments are to be acted upon. If somebody says, I love the product, you don't need to do anything immediately. But if somebody says, I lost my luggage just now, you need an immediate action. This is actually a true story. Some airline actually did that. So somebody tweeted that I lost my luggage just now, and airline actually immediately saw the tweet and figured it out and solved the customer's problem by finding it out. And immediately the customer gave a very positive feedback, right? So that actually helps a lot in keeping your brand value. Another interesting application, so I'm just throwing ideas here, detecting bias. Okay, all of us are biased, right? So, for example, if you want to detect whether some reviewer who writes a lot, maybe a very famous person, is biased about something. So detect sentiment of a person about something and aggregate it. So for example, somebody when he writes about Apple products, always writes good things. Bias, of course, is very evident in political writing and stuff like that. So figure out who is biased and who is not, right? And this would then translate to credibility analysis. Which which one to trust? I mean, which review site to trust, or which author to trust, and so on. There are other interesting applications. So Facebook used to have a gross national happiness index. This is over time. And they figured out that festivals make people happier, or at least they express that publicly. You see that, in some festivals, during festivals, people's happiness index went up, okay? They also had a happiness map of the world. The red is the happiest and the yellow is the unhappiest. And we are almost the most unhappy people, okay? Okay, so we are not the yellow, we are just the orange, slightly orange. Okay, so almost the most unhappy people, which is pretty evident. Then Twitter sentiment analysis. This is Twitter sentiments in Libya, and that vertical line is the time when it was announced that Gaddafi was killed. So which means that people who were actually using Twitter and so on, they were very happy at least. Okay, so these are the simple use cases, and there are many, many, many more, okay? And I'm sure, most of you know all of this, but yeah, so there are lots of sentiment analysis tools also available today. I'm not going to talk about these things, okay? There are some of them are open source, some of them are free for, free for non-commercial use, some of them are paid, Semanthria, and there are lots of companies, lots of good startup companies. And I'm pretty sure that Watson, Azure, and all those things, all those large enterprise tools or services, they also have sentiment analysis. Now, this is not going to be technical, but since we're talking about sentiment analysis, let's just give a very brief intuition about how it works, okay? So basically what happens is that the tools work by finding out what kind of words are present. So for example, maybe from the existing data, a model will be built where a model for positive sentiment would look something like this. These nice, good words are there, and model for negative sentiment would look something like this, okay? It's not as simple as this, but in a very, very simple way, it would look like this. And then, if a sentence is like this, it's great to be here, the environment is nice, it'll figure out that, well, there are these green words there, and most probably it's positive. And then the MH370 is still not found, it's shocking and blah, blah, blah. So it will figure out the red words are there. Of course, it will not be always so straightforward, okay? So this is how it's done technically inside, but there are complicated classification algorithms underlying this. I just give you a very brief intuition about how it works. How many more minutes do I have? Okay. So now the question is, well, it's an interesting thing and so on, but does it really work, right? The problem is, in general, it's about 60 to 70% accurate at best. And most people, well, they either expect a magic from this or they think it doesn't work, okay? So what to do? The point is, well, there's something, at least it works to some extent. So what you do is that you do domain or event specific tuning. I'll explain a bit more why these kind of things are necessary. Domain or event specific tuning, further tuning, and keep tuning, you get to 80 to 90%. It will still not be a case where you show 10 examples to your client and there won't be 1 or 2 mistakes. There will be. So it's very important to keep your expectations right. What are you expecting from this and so on. So why? Why is it not 99%, right? Because our language, because these technologies, the language, human language technologies, they don't work by understanding what is written. They work by indirect evidences. What kind of words are present? What word is present after what? As a human being, if we read something, we will understand exactly what is meant there. The algorithms don't. So there are always indirect evidences. Even in today's deep learning, it's not gone to the level of understanding the language. So the artificial intelligence is not at that level yet, okay? So for example, in sentiment analysis, there are lots of things. So someone writes a review of a perfume. It's a very sarcastic way of writing that this is really bad perfume, okay? So they're all green words, but it's really bad. Then it could be expectation and reality mismatch. So you say that, okay, the film should have been brilliant, it's a great thing, this and that, and so on, but finally you say it doesn't hold up, right? So, well, the supporting cast is good, the Stallone is attempting to deliver a good performance, however, it can't hold up. The overall thing is that, well, the review is not positive. Polysemy. That was a fine shot by Virat Kohli. Good. The bank charged him a fine for paying the bill late. Bad. Now, fine, when it's an adjective, it is good. When it's a noun, it is bad, right? Ordering effects. They said the movie would be great and they were right. They said the movie would be great and they were wrong, right? So that's, and utmost subtlety. Oh, you are terrible. This might actually mean that you are amazing, okay? So yeah, there are lots of reasons why this can get really challenging. So I'll with this leaving you at that, I'll spend 2 minutes on thinking what more can be done about this. Okay, so from sentiment to expressions. Sentiment was just okay, happy or unhappy. Let's go to something more. The point is, we get ideas, and because we get some ideas, then we try to develop new technology. Once we develop new technology, we get new ideas about how to use that and so on. And then we get more ideas, and then we develop more technology, and so on, right? So that's what happens. Now, unless you know what are the things possible, you won't be able to design your business cases. Unless people know what are the business cases necessary, they won't be able to think about what are the new ideas we should think about, right? So given that sentiment analysis has a strong business case, if it can be done well, these are some new ideas people have come up with. So we talked about pleasant and unpleasant. So pleasant is the happy side, unpleasant is the unhappy side. Let's add another dimension to this. Okay, let's make it 2 dimension, active and subdued. Now we'll see all the English words, they are almost the same, they're there for real reasons. They're not the same, right? So let's look at this. Happy. Slightly active, pleasant. Tense, very active, slightly unpleasant. Sad, unpleasant, slightly subdued. Nervous, stressed, upset. These are unpleasant towards active. Unhappy, depressed, bored. These are unpleasant towards subdued. Bored is slightly unpleasant, very subdued. Alert, excited, elated, happy. These are active, pleasant expressions. Calm, serene, relaxed, content. These are subdued, pleasant expressions. Now, we are not just happy or just unhappy. We are more, right? We are actually something, our expressions and state of expressions are, they have further dimensions. So, people have actually tried to figure out sentiment or expression analysis of this level. They are work in progress, yes. But the point is, what can be the new ideas? Okay? So if we can, from whatever people are writing, if we can figure out these states, what more can you do? Can you think about new ideas? Maybe when somebody is excited, recommend or give ads about restaurants and bars. Happy? Shopping ads. I'm just thinking, this is just random ideas. Somebody is depressed, recommend psychologist, maybe recommend psychologist to their relatives. Bored, recommend movies. Stressed, maybe say go for a holiday. Okay, content, okay, call any marketing call. They won't be unhappy, they won't shut it down, and so on, right? So, yeah, this is just one small set of ideas thrown, and think about 10 more ideas like this from whatever is possible, right? Okay, so with that, I finish. Hopefully I have been within time. Yeah, that's my email address, debopriya@isical.ac.in. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mazumdar. You've been absolutely on time. For the benefit of other speakers, we have a timer here, which can remind you whether you're overshooting a limit or not. And because you've done such a great job, sir, being in time, we'd like to felicitate you. Ina Bose. Big round of applause. Let's hear it for Dr. Mazumdar. Thank you.